Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger.
Hello, Trevant.
Oh, Tito.
What would you like to talk about today? What do we have here?
Well, today I have a question for you.
Well, go ahead.
Where the hell are all the foreigners in China?
Yeah, where indeed?
They are gone.
Wow.
75, according to the Chinese statistics, 75% of all the foreigners, they lived in China in 2019 are gone.
Wow. That's amazing. So within the span of 4 years, most of the people that came to China have left.
Yeah,
Wow.
terrifying, isn't it?
Kind of.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me read the official Chinese statistics.
Well, go ahead.
In 2019, China was accommodating 2.73 million foreigners. Many of them were people
Okay.
from South Korea. They were living in China for a long time. Like there are lots of South Koreans living in China.
Sure.
And to this day, actually March 2023, about 800,000 foreigners are remaining in China, which is less than 0.06% of the total population.
Wow. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, that's nothing.
It
It's literally nothing. Okay, can I have some trivia for you?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. How many immigrants does the USA have right now?
Wow. In
Okay,
total,
total
I
country,
have no
300
idea.
people.
I mean, it's an immigrant country. All the people are essentially immigrants.
Okay, the USA has about 350 million
Yeah.
people total, but how many of them are immigrants?
What do you mean? How many immigrants are living in the U.S. that are non-citizens? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
okay.
You
How
know?
many, yeah, okay. How many immigrants
Lot.
are living in the USA, non-citizens?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's got to be a few. It's got to be somewhere in the millions, I think. A few million.
Yeah, give me a number. 50. 50 million.
50? Wow.
50 million immigrants in the USA.
That's about a sixth of the population.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
It is.
How many? Okay, which is the country with the most immigrants per capita?
If it's not the United States, it's probably going to be Canada, just because it would be easier to get
Exactly.
there and become citizens after a few years.
Yeah, exactly. It's Canada. Yeah. By the way, yeah. About 23% of the whole Canadian populations are people from another country.
Wow, it's a lot.
So every fourth person you meet outside on the street in Canada is an immigrant.
Can you imagine that in China?
No, absolutely not. Cannot imagine. It would be scary. I mean, the Chinese people would go mad. There would be riots. There would be riots
Possibly.
all across China. Yeah. Okay, interesting fact. In after Chinese accession to WTO, the World Trade Organization, in 2001, after 3 years after that, August 2004, China introduced a 10 years residency permit, which basically means the green card. Now, question
Okay.
for you. From 2004 until 2019, how many green cards has China issued?
Well, to be honest, I've read a few articles on this,
Uh-huh.
and the foreigners were seen there pictured holding their new residence permit cards very proudly. And I've only seen about a couple articles about this, so that's the only number I can confirm. I don't know, might have
All right.
been, I would imagine it would be, several thousands of people by now, since, 2001. I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's say
yeah, in
let's say
15
at least
years,
100,000.
20,000 green cards in
20,000.
15 years. Yep, yep, that's nothing. It's
Wow.
literally that's like 100 green cards a month.
So meeting a
That's
person like that in China would be like meeting a yeti in the Himalayas. Yeah.
I haven't met anybody ever.
Nah, me neither.
Nobody with a green card. I heard some rumors that somebody met somebody who knew somebody whose cousin got a green card.
Okay, right, right.
The stories like that, but I never ever met anybody or anybody who knew somebody with a green card.
Wow.
Right. Okay, on the contrary, guess how many green cards does the USA issue every year?
Oh God, there's even a lottery. You can even win them if you apply, if you're eligible.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't know. More than China in 15 years.
Yeah, more than China in
Well, then probably
more than China in
if-
500 years.
I see. Wow.
More
Maybe
than
maybe
China.
over 100,000.
1 million. 1 million.
Wow.
I think it's a
So-
fixed
so-
number for
Okay.
1 million.
Okay, I see.
And many of these people, after they receive their green card, are eligible for citizenship.
Well, it takes about 5 years, I think, depending on the circumstances. But yeah, it's a step towards that.
Yeah, what's 5 years? Basically, you have all the rights, maybe except the voting rights.
Yeah,
Right
I mean,
after you
otherwise,
receive the green
you
card.
are.
Maybe you cannot vote, but basically you have all the other rights as any other
Kind of
American
almost
citizen.
considered almost as a citizen. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, almost citizen, right? In China, nope. You cannot be citizen. Basically China doesn't recognize dual citizenship.
Yes. So in order to become a Chinese citizen, you would have to show some proof that you've renounced another citizenship,
You have to give up your own citizenship.
which is
So imagine,
why
in my case.
why would a lot of people do that? Why? Depending on where you're from, but still, why would you choose China as the country of your citizenship?
You have to be no, you.
Um,
I never heard about anybody who would do that, but I yes. I'm pretty sure if somebody did that, I would have heard about it because China would be proudly presenting this person
would have been
as
would have been a kind of a curiosity, yeah.
as a new Chinese person. But I think the Chinese population, Chinese people wouldn't like it. That's the thing, that Chinese people in general, they like, they are nice people, but they are not very open-minded. And since the decrease of the foreigners in China, I don't feel they are missing them.
I think people got used to the new status quo. Yeah. Wow.
They just didn't notice. They
Okay.
Maybe because they didn't notice that the foreigners are missing.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe they think they died. I don't know.
Oh God.
Just
Yeah.
a joke.
No.
Just imagine my case, okay? I've been
Alright,
living
go ahead.
in China for many years. Been married for many years. My wife is Chinese. My children are Chinese. I own apartment. I pay taxes. I work. Nope,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
I get nothing. I get zero. I could get a family visa, but
Yeah, well,
after
why
that
not?
I wouldn't be allowed to work.
So,
On family visa, you
what
cannot.
the heck is the point of a family visa?
Family visa, I think, is for Chinese who moved abroad but who would like to come back and they don't want to apply for visa like every time, so they get maybe 5 years visa one time and they can be coming to China and leaving anytime. So this is for Chinese
Oh, okay,
people
okay.
who don't have Chinese citizenship anymore, right?
Yeah,
Not for foreigners. It's called marriage visa, spouse visa, spouse visa.
it's a weird concept.
Yeah, I can ask for spouse visa. Maybe I will get it. Maybe not. Not sure. But I wouldn't be eligible to work.
Oh.
So
Basically
nothing.
useless.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least in your
basically,
case.
basically, totally useless. Yeah, totally useless. You know, some people say you can measure how successful the country is according to how long the lines of applicants for visa in front of their embassies are.
Oh, yeah. Well, there
Yeah,
used to
well,
be, maybe there still will be, applications for a Chinese tourist visa, because
yeah,
China does require tourist visas for most countries, but yeah, not as big lines as around the U.S. embassies.
U.S. Embassy is the winner. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Stephen Kotkin said that like there is no other country like America that lines the long lines of people every day applying for visa for America. Yeah, there is no other country like America.
Good point.
And I'm not boosting about America. I have nothing to do with America. I've been to America. I like America. But absolutely, if you go to Beijing, you see the lines of the people. You know, there are like thousands of
Oh,
people
okay.
every day lining up. There are like a snake in the courtyard, and it continues inside. I mean,
I
I've
see.
never seen anything like that. It's like sea of people trying to get to America. They know why. You know, they know why. On the other hand, never heard about any American try to get a citizenship in China.
Yeah, no, me neither.
That's
Me neither.
maybe there
Yeah.
are some, but we just don't haven't heard
Not,
about them.
not, not that, not that I know of.
China doesn't care about it. China doesn't care about foreigners.
No, I mean, I don't want to say that Chinese people would be xenophobic, which they are not. But there does seem to be this kind of mentality of us versus them, based largely on what you can see on physical appearance. And this might lead to some funny situations where a Chinese person might see a foreigner and they might think, wow, you can speak Chinese very well if they say a few words, because it's kind of an obligatory compliment when foreigner arrives in China. But if the foreigner looks somewhat Chinese, they could be ethnically Chinese from another country, or they could be from another country in Asia visiting China, and they can't speak Chinese very well. All of a sudden, it's weird, right? Well, what do you mean you
Yeah,
can't speak Chinese? Are you pretending to be a
yeah,
foreigner? Yeah.
yeah. China has very large population, so I would say the majority of the Chinese people never met a foreigner in their life,
And has
ever.
been kind of a homogenous culture.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you travel to some countryside, or maybe just if you go to Tiananmen Square, and there is this travelers from
Yeah, you would
different
yeah
villages,
the people who might be
and
visiting
they would,
Beijing for the first time, they might want to take a picture
yeah,
with
visit.
you as a foreigner.
Or they would like to, yeah, they will ask you to take picture with you.
You are
Like,
part of you
you are
are
the
part of
biggest
the
attraction.
yeah, or the attraction
You are the
of the
biggest,
tourist
it's bigger
spot.
than Forbidden City, yeah? They go back home and look, I took a picture with a foreigner.
Wow, let
Like
me
it
see.
reminds me when I came to China, when I came to China first time I was traveling here. And I just took a train and like everybody was taking picture with me. Like everybody.
So you were quite popular.
And yes, and that time I didn't speak any Chinese. I mean, I don't remember how we communicate, but we did somehow. And
Sure.
eventually, when we arrived at the last stop, they were like, "Oh, come with us. We are going to this. We are staying at this hotel, you know, and you can come with." They were dragging me with them. They wanted me to continue my journey with them.
Yeah.
It was, I felt so great. It felt great. Really, it felt really great. I felt so special.
How unique. Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, it's still there. You know, it's still
Yes, but less and less foreigners in China anymore, as you said.
there. Less and less foreigners, and I could feel it since I'd say 2015, 16. Suddenly, foreigners started to leave. I mean, many of them spent several years in China, and they felt like I will never be here at home. I mean, they just realized that China was giving them nothing, nothing back. Well, except the salary they were earning.
Well,
But
I mean,
at
I
some
would
point,
imagine that
it's
would
not
be
enough.
that would be a large or a very significant, if not the most significant reason why a lot of people would have
Yeah.
might move to another country. But yeah, this is a good question. Why did a lot of foreigners come to China in the first place?
Adventure. It's an
Oh,
adventure.
yeah. Huh, good point. It certainly is.
Yeah, it's like it's a good place because China is the big cities are quite developed. So you know when you arrive here, you find lots of similarities with back at home. This supermarkets or maybe the places where you go to. I don't know
Yeah, sure.
for
Yeah,
beer.
the largest cities
Oh,
are quite
it's
developed, but things are still
yeah, quite
quite.
developed.
Some things are still quite different. So maybe this might be
Yeah,
interesting
they
for
are
some
very
people.
different. Yeah, they're very different, but still, yeah, still, as I said, lots of similarities. And you earn some decent salary, and you can save some money. You can go to travel later on, or basically, many people go like, okay, 1 or 2 years, I just stay there, experience the new culture, and then maybe I just go home. Yeah.
Well, if it's so good, why wouldn't more people like to stay there longer?
And because they, well, either they want to return eventually, or maybe they get married and they
Oh,
just
okay,
say, okay,
yeah. So that's also a good point.
my country, we can settle down, have I feel like home. But in China, once a foreigner, always a foreigner. That's it. That's the truth. And plus, there since 2012, since Xi Jinping took the power, and seems like he will never let it go. Never let it go. So the social and political atmosphere is deteriorating, getting worse and worse.
And you think that
And
applies
you
to
can,
foreigners as well?
absolutely foreigners, especially to foreigners, especially to foreigners.
As if China is sometimes still blaming foreigners for some problems that happen in the country.
Uh, Let me rephrase you. China always blame foreigners. Always for anything and everything. I can remember the COVID.
Oh,
COVID
okay.
started in Wuhan, in December. In January, everybody knew it was from Wuhan. And like the beginning of March, or maybe it's from Italy, or Africa,
Yeah,
or France,
this is a little
or
ridiculous.
Japan. There are many cases in Japan. It must be from Japan. There are so many cases. Oh, look how many
Sure.
cases in Italy. Oh, it's probably from Italy. So eventually, wow, people forgot very conveniently. Okay, I would like to make another episode about the COVID, and
We can talk
definitely
about
will
that
be-
as well.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Yes, the COVID definitely didn't help. Didn't help the foreigners to feel at home in China.
Yeah, people would
I can
kind
tell
of might give you some odd looks, ask you, are you just traveling here? Might be a little bit more cautious, you know, which would be funny
or just they look
because
like
people
why are
would
you
have
trying to kill me?
people would have either gone home. A lot of foreigners went home after COVID erupted because they would be unsure of how long it would last. Or the people who have stayed there, they would have been there for a long period of time, But
Right.
it's hard to.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard for a regular Chinese person to imagine that. Oh yeah, this foreigner has probably been here for a while. Nothing wrong with him.
No.
You know,
Nobody would imagine that.
just like
No,
another
must be
Chinese
foreigner.
person.
Probably just arrived.
Right,
Something-
fresh off the boat.
Yeah, with the boat. Yes. You and I experienced on several occasions when we were forbidden to enter places,
Oh yeah,
and for no
Yeah.
reason. And for no reason.
Just
the only reason was that we were foreigners.
yes.
No other.
And not
reason.
some important places. Like I know they did one time. They didn't want to let me to a sort of a government building. I also don't know what the reason was. Yeah, probably something due to COVID restrictions. But these are just some regular compounds. No reason whatsoever.
Yeah. No reason at all. No reason at all. And without any shame. Like you are a foreigner, and suddenly even imagine that you are Chinese, and you live in America, and you are suddenly banned from entering maybe a restaurant, and maybe the person at the restaurant would say, sorry, you cannot enter. Because
Sounds like
you are
something.
Chinese, you are
Yeah,
Asian,
from
you
the
are
from the previous 1 or 2 centuries.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
unimaginable.
what I'm trying
now.
to say is, I believe that lots of Americans, if they saw something like this happening, they would stand up. And they would protect this person, and say, there is no logic. Why are
got a point, yeah.
Why are you banning this person from entering? They were like, oh, because he can be sick. But look, he has a coat. Like in China, we had the coats on the mobile phone, right? We had to always show everywhere the health code.
Yeah.
And plus another coat, and no matter, he was, no, I'm not from Italy, I'm not from America, I'm healthy, I have the coat, and I've been in China, I never left, like I haven't left China for 1.5 years. Nope, nothing.
Wow.
No excuses. You're a foreigner, get out. And that time I felt like this country is not safe. It's
Yeah,
not safe
I
for foreigners
understand.
because, little twist, something happens, I don't know. I'm not even saying that's a war or whatever. I mean, you are done. You are finished. There would be like people knocking on the door and they would be taking you out. And hopefully it will be the police and not just my neighbors.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I understand.
Every day and smile at me in the elevator, and we talk briefly, I ask how their grandkids are, and they ask me how my kids are. I think they would be one of the first people knocking on the door and dragging me out, and I don't know what would happen to me. I can very vividly imagine that.
Now, okay, I must,
So
I
no,
must, I must say, to counter that, that I have a lot of experiences, probably more of Chinese people helping me when I needed something, when another Chinese person was not in the right. But yeah, like you're saying, if there is a problem in the whole society, then things might quickly turn against people who do seem a little foreign.
yeah, yeah, Singaporean. It could be a Chinese from Xinjiang,
Possibly, right? Sure.
possibly.
So let's say
Yeah.
we're 1 year into COVID. For some foreigners that wanted to go home, they've left China. Some are still there.
Mm.
What
Yeah.
happened to them?
But the foreigners that stayed, usually they have families here or they have some
Oh,
strong
okay.
ties, so they couldn't leave or they just decided to just wait, hold on, and because it was promising, they said, okay, we opened in June 2020 and 2021, except all the constant testing and, showing your health card everywhere, everything seemed to be okay.
Yeah, but
And
the
then a
thing
new
things just got what
government
got worse later on, right?
later on, like in the middle of 2021, there were some new government regulations about working, and suddenly it happened a few times before, like every 2 years.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
happened. The police is going to working places and checking on foreigners, but you have everything right. You don't have to worry about anything. So I never worried about anything
Sure.
until they came to the company where I was working, and we had like two offices in two different districts, and I didn't know that I was registered. My residency permit was registered
I
for
mean,
another
your
district.
work permit. Yeah.
For my work permit, yeah. And until then, I didn't know the work permit was registered. I thought it was registered for the company, not for a
Oh, okay.
district.
Now it's even if a company has branch offices, it's always registered to one particular workplace. And this is the weird thing. Unless you have some kind of I don't know, maybe a written permit or whatever, you can't automatically go to another workplace.
At that time, I didn't know that,
Yeah, because
and
nobody
I
was
thought that
enforcing such a silly rule. All of a sudden,
I never heard
there
about it before.
somebody got a directive that they have to check on some foreigners. So maybe they thought, okay,
Exactly,
maybe this is a problem that we could find.
exactly. They were looking for every little single problem, so they would harass the companies that were employing foreigners.
I mean, so what
That's what
happened
it
as a
was.
result?
Well, they gathered us, all the foreigners, of course. Then they took us in it was like a golf car to the nearest police station.
What the hell?
There we had to wait for like 2 3 hours. And of course, the people from my company came over. Everything is fine, don't worry, guys. We will solve this. Just a little problem. Okay.
Well, because
Then
this
they
was
asked.
their issue. If
It was their
a
issue.
rule exists like
At
this,
that
then
moment,
they should the company should what will take care of their employees and watch out for them in these situations.
I trusted them. I knew it wasn't a big problem, but
Okay.
they were just making like a big show.
Ah, okay, got
And
it.
after that, after 3 hours, they took us in a car to another police station. They divided us. Each of us was in different room. They set me in a tiger chair.
And what is a tiger chair?
Well, maybe you can tell me. You have some experience.
Because I sat in one of these things. Here is a kind of a parody of a cell, and here is an interrogation room, and this person is sitting down. Notice that he's in a position where he can't just stand up and run away. So it might seem like protocol, but this is excessive. I mean, where is he gonna run? Out of the interrogation room. It's
He's chained up. He's chained up to the chair.
yeah, and, sometimes it might be uncomfortable. Depending on the chair.
If you sit there for a few hours,
Yeah,
it becomes very uncomfortable.
and
all these people are policemen. They are just taking their selfies or taking the pictures or just like their own initiative.
this is
and
this
this
is
is
like
just-
little kids.
Yeah, exactly. It's just appalling.
Look,
They're
it's
just,
plain.
they're showing their power. Look, we have you. We put you in the chair and you are ours. You are ours. This is just...
So then they
Just a
they
bullet.
they have, if they have something against you, they give you some administrative fine, or in some cases for some foreigners might have been a detention, because like you were saying, like in your case, this is a very good example, or a very bad example, perhaps I should say, of the arbitrary application of law in China. Right. So a foreigner might be stuck in a more serious situation where they might be doing something that has been okay
As
for
a
a few
foreigner-
years, and all of a sudden they can see that it's never been okay, and they are the victim to this kind of a random application of the law on the part of the PSB, the Public Security Bureau.
China's law is very conveniently basically, if your employee breaks the law, makes any mistake, if the company makes any mistake, if your boss makes any mistake, everybody is responsible. Always everybody is responsible, and everybody will get punished.
Wow.
So I did nothing wrong yet. I had to spend
Right.
hours and hours at this police station. They called a translator. They were asking me stupid questions like, when did you enter China? And I forgot. I was like,
No,
oh,
things
no.
that they knew, this is like regular police investigation. But for
And they
what? I
knew
mean,
that
they
everything
knew
was
what happened. They didn't need to interrogate you. This is just,
everything was in the computer.
it's just
I
standard
find out when they
procedure.
asked me.
You know.
They asked me which airport you from which airport you entered China, and I forgot by the time.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, like in Fujian. They were like, wasn't it Shanghai?
It's like they're helping you on a test.
And then he turned over the computer. There was a picture of me at Shanghai airport.
Yeah.
So he knew that. He was asking me questions that, I don't know why. I just, for no reason. So anyway, and when we ended, it was like, okay, so how do you suggest that we would solve this problem? He was asking me this question, and I go.
What did you tell them?
It was after midnight, and I said, I said, I suggest that we would forget about it, and you would just let me go. And
Did they get the humor? Was this in line with
I was
the
the
police humor?
translator. There was just some young girl from university that just
Right. Because you have the right to a translator if
maybe her
you're detained
professor
in China.
recommended her to the police station. Money, and she looked at me like, "You sure you want me to translate it?" Yeah. So she translated it, and they didn't look very amused. They
Oh,
just looked at her
man.
like, "Are you sure this is what he said?" And they were not happy, and they could feel it. I was angry.
Yeah, I see it.
So eventually they just let me sign the document, and so I left after midnight.
Didn't you still have to go there several times?
Yeah, I had to still go there 3 times.
For what?
And
I mean,
one time to like to agree that I was guilty and I made a mistake, and then two more times because they made a mistake. They always say, "Oh, sorry, we made some mistake. Can you come back?"
What the hell?
Because they always make mistakes and they just don't realize that what the hell. Okay, so as a result, two of my colleagues quit and left China after this.
Wow. Did they want to leave China? Were they just sick of it, or did
They were
not?
they were kind of like mixed. There was a mixture of being scared
Okay, I
and
understand.
being angry with the company, and they okay. One of them left. The other one just went to change the employer, went to another company.
Okay, so but they were able
Yeah,
to find a new. They were able to get a residence permit again, so no big deal.
yeah, he was.
Because I've heard, of a lot of foreigners, get, as we get about a year into COVID and we get into 2021, a lot of them would um, start to see having their residence permits not being renewed. Have you heard about that?
Hmm. Yeah, but I don't understand exactly why, what the reason was.
I
It
don't
makes no
know either.
sense.
I can only speculate because I've heard about, a lot of these people, maybe they might, not, maybe they might not always have the proper qualifications, but I would assume at least some of them did. They might have worked in China, for example, they might have been teaching English for a few years. They might have been English teachers even in their home countries, and they would have functioned without any problems in
Hmm.
China. All of a sudden, they would not have their um, residence permits renewed, in spite of having their work permits. So this was a little bit weird. You kind of start to see as
In China,
go ahead.
it's not always about how you as an employee, how your things are set right. It's also about the company. So if the company has some issues with the PSB,
That's right.
Public Security Bureau, or has any grudges or any mistakes or any problems, they punish the whole company.
Very
And
good
you get
point.
punished because you are responsible. You are always responsible.
Very good point.
It's
Yeah.
not your fault, but you just bear the consequences or the punishment. So either suddenly you don't get residency permit extended for 1 year, but only for 6 months or 3 months as a punishment.
Good point. Yeah.
As a punishment. So and you have no chance to find out what the problem is because the company lies to you. Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in China, it's very common that don't tell anybody. No matter what it is,
I've,
don't tell
I've,
anybody.
I've heard that. Don't tell your colleagues about this. And these would be kind of things that, of course, you would tell them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like, I'm not an asshole. I would tell them right away.
So I was thinking, like,
Yeah,
are
what
they
the problem
saying this
was.
on purpose? Do they want me to tell them? But I guess not.
Are they testing me?
Yeah.
Because I will fail.
It just seems interesting to me, though, that a lot of a lot of these foreigners might not get their residence permits renewed. Sometime soon after the Ministry of Education issued new guidelines for schools and extracurricular um, training centers. Because it seems like China does not want to spend that much money on education because they're trying to solve a population crisis. Right? For years, the government told the population, you can only have one child. Now, all of a sudden, okay, now you can have two, maybe even more. Well, it's a little too
Okay,
late,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Right.
this kind of a change happened naturally in a lot of other Asian countries, and China
It's a bit
kind
late
of
for the
missed
people in
missed
their
the
future.
opportunity when they could have um, when the people would have had more children naturally, and now they seem to try to do it artificially. So they would try to the government would try to tell the people that okay, now you don't have to spend, you're not even, maybe you're not even allowed, to send your children to so many extracurricular activities that you have to pay for. Instead, you can save this money, maybe you can think about having another kid, right?
Mhm.
Win-win,
Yeah,
except for the people who were working in the education sphere. And this would be a lot of foreigners, often because, let's be honest, teaching English would have been the go-to job for a lot of the foreigners that would live in China. Because on the one hand, it would be easy to get, maybe easier than working at a Chinese company. On the other hand, the pay might be sufficient enough, maybe similar or in some cases higher than in some even managerial positions in smaller Chinese companies.
yes, 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 I agree. Yeah, that's the reason. That's one of the reasons.
So
I
why not? It seems like China didn't need these kind of people around anymore. They can go home. Nobody in China is going to complain.
Nobody will complain, cares. Nobody cares. Yeah, true, very true. Yeah, yeah, very, very true. The Chinese people don't care. Yeah.
It seems kind of superficial on the surface, to reduce these things because, um, you know, rich people they will always find a way to have some to give their kid an upper hand in education or whatever, right? And kind of limiting what the children should and should not learn is it's just feeling more totalitarian than before.
I believe the main reason is that since Xi Jinping came to power, he was trying to bring back the true social values.
Yes, this is certainly a part of that.
Mhm. And these socialist values cannot be tainted by these foreign forces living right under your nose.
Right, right.
So, so let's get rid of them, right? So this is the reason I think they are purposefully trying to get rid of the foreigners they don't need.
Yeah,
They are not essential
it does
for
seem
the
like
for
that.
the economic
Hmm?
growth. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There is somebody said there is one like a Beijing old Beijing propaganda slogan that our friends are all over the world. In Chinese, 我们的朋友遍天下.
So they're all around
But
the Tianxia, as in under the heavens. Sort of a nice way of
yeah,
saying
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
exactly.
world.
Over under the heavens. Only it's better to keep our friends abroad. Don't bring them over.
Okay, I see.
Like yeah, like finishing the sentence. Yeah, I feel this. I feel like this. Like which country doesn't have friends? But we need to say that we have friends. We are not alone. But China doesn't have many friends.
Yeah, that's
I mean, in
it's
general,
true.
China doesn't have friends. But you know, it's understandable. A country that is trying to basically control you and put you into submission. It's not a real friend.
That is
Not
true.
a real friend.
And it's very ironic
Yeah.
on the part of China to limit these options for foreigners, because these are people of productive age that want to come to China. You know, they make money in China, they spend money in China as well. Also because it's very difficult to send that money abroad, right?
Oh yeah, that's another issue. So yeah, all of these reasons together, like so difficult to send the money you earn in China abroad. You just can't.
So
You
that
can't even change the money
yeah, that
into, let's say, dollars.
is it, but it's
Cannot.
easier for Chinese citizens or for people who have a Chinese 身份证, Chinese ID card. So again, this is a
Still limited.
clear app. Yeah, still limited, but it a little bit easier. So this is a
It's easier.
clear kind of an application, you know, to see that yeah, you know, the money that you make here, you know, should be spent here as well.
Yeah, you can send money at home, but the money you earned, but takes lots of paperwork. Lots of paperwork in the bank. So it's not easy.
Right.
Not easy.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
always one document short.
Right. Always something missing. Yeah. Or they didn't tell you the first time, so suddenly, oh, okay, I forgot, sorry. You still need this paper. Ah. And then it starts again. Another reason why it's not very comfortable for foreigners living in China is all the internet is blocked.
Yeah.
I mean, all the websites
Yeah.
that you are used to are blocked. You need VPN, right? Virtual private network.
Yeah, to
Like an application
to
on
be
your
able
mobile
to
phone.
access a lot of websites that are common abroad. You know, talk about Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
or even instant messaging services.
Yeah, right. So that's another inconvenience. Or you can get a VPN, but it's not for free. I mean, you have to pay extra. Always have to pay extra money for everything.
It can be for free.
For
And,
something that you find.
you know, it's also a question, you know, of how a VPN is only as secure as to what extent they are willing to show browsing data to the government.
Right.
Which
And
I'm
officially,
hoping they would not be
VPN
doing
is
that.
not.
But you know,
VPN is not legal, not illegal. They keep
right?
it in so-called.
Yeah, I mean they don't really care.
gray.
They don't really care about foreigners using VPNs in China because you know they might easily use it to access their own website. They might be used to
They
from
don't,
back home.
yeah, they don't care about using a VPN, but
But for
if you break
Chinese
the law, it's
people,
really something.
that's different, right? They might, if they check your phone and they find a VPN, you know, it might be a little bit suspicious, right?
Especially if you are from Xinjiang.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I believe you can use VPN, but if you really break the law or something happens to you, I don't know, maybe you
This might be added to
You get
the list of charges, right?
yeah, they will add it to that. Yeah, they will add it to the list of charges. So the punishment is harsher because they find VPN on your mobile phone.
Got it.
So that's why it's called so-called gray law.
Hmm.
Taking the gray law. It's not black, it's not white, it's gray.
That's just a
It's
gray
gray.
area, though. The law, I think, is always black and white. It's just that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some reason, and I don't quite understand how this works, but when there is no pressure to apply a new law that comes into effect, you know, I guess, you know, the police, they slowly learn about the law, you know, and once there is some more serious pressure from the government, you know, then they start to apply it, you know.
Right.
So it sort of trickles down slowly and starts being applied sometimes arbitrarily.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, correct. So it's not very easy
No,
to be a foreigner in China.
not quite. Yeah, you know. So when you run
Yeah.
afoul of the law, you might get sent to one of these. This is
Uh,
a police truck that is going to the court. Fa Yuan. It's written from right to left. Maybe it's easier to read in the review mirror. I don't know. Let's see if we can play this.
like ambulance, huh?
Yeah, come inside. Come into jail. So this is ridiculous because this is, just the Chinese police filming themselves at their work.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And then they allow it because everything is controlled by the party, yeah, in China. So they allow this. This is not like it goes under their radar. It's
No, I mean,
they
why
know about
they
it.
don't. I don't think they honestly care, because the more the more the police presence is felt in the population, the better for the government. If you want to
Right.
look at it that way.
And yeah, ordinary Chinese person's thinking is like, oh, that's good. I feel so much safer now when I see these pictures. That's good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong about that.
Sure. Yes. But these kinds of arbitrary applications of law that we talked about, obviously, these are terrible for all the people that are living in China. Most of them are Chinese. So
Correct, correct. What do you think about racism? About Chinese racism? Are Chinese people racist?
I'd like to say no, because well, in my experience, they don't necessarily want to hurt a foreigner that they see in China that is of another skin color that looks different. Although that does happen sometimes in some extreme cases, but they might still have some these preconceived stereotypical notions that, for example, oh, this person, has a beard, they are scary, or let's say this person has a darker skin, children might be scared of him or her. It's just ridiculous. These kinds of stereotypes are just ridiculous. So as a result
man.
of that, you get judged in China, not just based on your abilities, but on the way you look, on the basis of skin color. So you might see, let's say, a Russian person that can barely speak English, teaching English to to some Chinese children just because that person's white. Who are the end customers? The parents that sometimes might not know, might not be able to judge the level that this person can speak at. Whereas an ABC, an American or an Australian or a foreign-born Chinese person, might not get the same job or might not get the same job for the same pay, even if their English might be a lot better.
I think that falls under the category of naivety and stupidity.
It does, yeah.
I have no other explanation for that. But racism, I mean the typical racism, I would say if you are looking for a typical racism, yeah, China. China is, I would say, the typical. They don't hate you, but they are prejudiced. They can say, what do you think of the? If you ask ordinary
yeah, I
Chinese
see what you
person,
mean.
what do you think of the people from Africa? They would say something like, they are black and they are dirty.
Yeah, yeah, I see
Because
what
they
you're
are
saying.
not because they know they are. They never met anybody from Africa. They probably know that they shower, they wash their hands, but because the color of their skin is black, they would say, you know, I think they are dirty.
And they might be, a little more scared, let's say, to rent an apartment to a black person.
Oh yeah, just what happened in Guangzhou. Remember, like during the COVID lockdown, they kicked out all the Africans because they bring the virus,
Right, yeah.
and
What the hell?
only
Right.
after the African countries intervened and they complained about the treatment of their students in Guangzhou. Then the police, China took quick actions. They just I don't know, they just rounded them up, presented them with some gifts, like give them some apples and oranges, took pictures with them, and they said, "Oh, everything is okay now."
Wow. All of a sudden, huh?
Yeah, when it must be done, it must be done. Let's solve the problem once and forever. And see, we are not racist.
I mean,
See the pictures? Wow.
this is
Must be
really
true.
heading down a dangerous path, because China
There are lots
was
of
opening
cases.
up a lot more.
There are lots of cases of discrimination against foreigners happening basically daily, but nobody is writing about them. You cannot find them in a newspaper because everything is controlled by the government. Like
It's not a topic that a lot of people in China would
like
talk about.
if I exaggerate, like in America, you accidentally sneeze into another person's tea, and because the tea, because the person is, I don't know, from Mexico, wow, they say, oh yeah, that was racism, you know, and all the media will just jump on this case, and maybe if they are wrong, eventually after 1 week they say, oh sorry, that was wrong information. We apologize now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this
Just
makes our
exaggerated.
experiences in China, look yeah, a lot of different. Like oftentimes, they would not people might not they might let us enter a place, but only after a lot of hassle, and nobody would apologize or care about it that much.
Nobody,
I mean,
nobody,
these were more
nobody,
extreme
nobody.
cases, but they do reflect the attitudes of the society.
Okay, I have to say, as an apology for the Chinese society, Chinese people are very nice people. They are very nice people, and but they don't have a chance to grow, because usually when you grow, you get a chance to make a mistake, and you learn from the mistakes, and you just change or just adjust. But they don't have a chance because the government just created some I don't know, some uh, curtain, around them. They can't see even each other, not even outside. So they have no chance to learn from their own mistakes, because they are told, no, you never make mistakes, you are always right, and we, your government, will protect you, just like we never make a mistake, and everything is are the forces, the foreign forces, the foreign entities, from the outside.
Yeah, well,
So
that
you just
doesn't sound very believable.
they believe that. They do believe that. Yeah, they believe that. Yeah, unfortunately.
It's not the way it works.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it doesn't work this way.
what
Yeah.
can you do? Well, let's see what happens in the next few years. Yeah. Whether
Nah.
whether there will be some foreigners still coming in, or you know whether there will be
I don't
fewer
see
and
that.
fewer people.
I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I believe there, like in every totalitarian state, like for example Russia or China, until the leader dies, nothing will change. They must change the president. They must have a new leadership, and then something will change. They are not gonna change it overnight just because, one morning Xi Jinping will wake up and say, "Oh, okay, actually I've changed my mind, and now let's get more foreigners in." No, I don't see that happening.
Well, let's see.
Nope.
Yeah, you might be right.
Hopefully I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Let's hope so. All right. Well, let's see what happens. We'll see in a few years how things
Yep.
went.
All right, let's talk about in our 150th episode.
All right. Let's see. All right then.
Okay.
Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, you Tito.
Take
You
care.
too. Hey, take
See
care.
you. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.